So I'm Carissa Lowe. I'm an assistant professor of medicine, psychology, biomedical informatics at the University of Pittsburgh. The problem is that symptoms like fatigue and nausea are really common during most cancer treatments, and they are really affect quality of life for patients. It makes it hard for them to do the things that they want to do that are meaningful to them. So these symptoms are often undetected and not addressed during oncology visits. And so we wanted to come up with a way for patients to monitor those symptoms in real time in a way that's easy and fun and interactive, so they could share that information with their care providers and also with their family caregivers, and hopefully manage those symptoms a little bit better. And we study different kinds of cancer patients, but a lot of GI cancer patients in particular, where they often have treatment for about a year. Really, if they're coming in for treatment every other week, they generally will see their doctor every other visit. So yeah, once a month they'll have 5 minutes with their oncologist and the nurse to just check their labs, make sure that their immune system is strong enough to get the chemotherapy dose that day. So very little time to talk about fatigue or things that are more quality of life issues.
Hello and welcome to Vita. This is a project built by a team in the Computing for Good class at Carnegie Mellon University. This is currently the login screen. Each patient would have their own account, which would keep track of their own data. We can simply log in here. This is the home screen. It is personalized for each user and has a series of notifications and reminders that pop up and you can scroll through. This is the account page. It has a picture, name, and location for each user and allows you to access a variety of your settings. By pressing personal settings, we can get several things that we can change, such as name, location, and weight. All of these things are editable just by clicking in the field and typing. They also save their value, so if I change one of the fields, it saves. This is notification settings. We can change which notifications we want, as well as the time that we want to record them. This is the help screen. It has a tutorial video, and by pressing play down here, we can watch it. There's also a log out option, however I'm not going to show that here. This is where we add data points. We can track symptoms just by clicking the symptoms button and include any kind of amount that you want for any of the symptoms. You can also add your own symptom down here by typing in the name as well as any kind of scale factor. By pressing back, it saves it into our database for future use. Medications is similar. We can click a time that we want to take it, as well as other settings that we want to list, such as currently taking, the dose, the notifications, as well as any times. And similarly, we can add our own medication down there. Nutrition is similar. We can add a time as well as what we did. Same with activity, a time as well as how long we performed it. And sleep, we can track how many hours and minutes we slept last night just by scrolling through these values and pressing done at the end. This is the charting functionality. We can press as many of these symptoms or other data points that we want and make charts at the top here. We can scroll through our list of line graphs, tracking all the different symptoms or other data points that we want to track. Currently, there are just 4 random data points for each. However, they would be pulled from the database in the reapplication. We found that Flutter's charting library was very limiting, and so in the future, we would like to have a plotly system where data points would be pulled from the database into a Python script and then run through a plotly service. This would allow us to have a web portal as well as make the charting functionality much stronger. This is the messaging group, so we can click as many people as we want to share our data points with. And at the bottom, there is a share data option. So to, again, ideally send the data through an email with each contact that you request with a link to that Plotly web service or any other data service we want to organize it with. X on the bottom gets you out. And that's Vita. Thank you for watching.
One of the interesting things about research which is shown is that if we're looking at the end of a day or the end of a week or the end of an experience about how it's been, we tend to remember the peak emotion and how the experience ended, where actually what happened throughout the course of the time might be quite different.
We were interested to learn if sensing could provide better patient monitoring. Using Aware, we plotted activity data on an hourly basis for a participant. This visualization, coupled with medication information, can help the patient self-reflect about the benefits or even the side effects of each medication. Next, using sensing, we were interested to detect falling. We created a basic fall detection algorithm by collecting accelerometer data and mapping peak detection. Using sensors, we have the potential to smartly detect activity and monitor symptoms for better patient monitoring.
Nice and clean, pretty simple in terms of the interface, which I think is great for these patients who are older and a little more skittish around technology, who need something that's easy to see if they have any visual impairments, and easy to use if they're not that comfortable with mobile apps. More passive sensing capabilities, allowing people to do little self-experiments to see how their behavior and medications might be affecting their symptoms. I think being able to visualize both of those different information streams would be helpful. I think sending information to clinicians and caregivers is great, and if there was a way that they could also get alerts if symptoms get really high or if there's some sort of change in the patient's health status, I think that could be useful for detecting situations where they might need some support or some help.